Yo, in this video we're going to talk about Bogren Digital's IRDX plugin. I've let the dust settle a little on this product before I've produced this video because there's hundreds of others that have been uploaded in the past few weeks that review or analyse or critique this new product. My version, however, is slightly different from others that I've watched because I'm not going to attempt to scientifically explain what this product does, or to show it you in a mix, or to talk about it from a music producer's point of view, of which I am not. But instead, I'm going to talk about how it makes me feel. Firstly, I want you to listen to these two audio examples, and I want you to see if you can work out which one's being processed by Bogren Digital's IRDX. I'll tell you if you're right after you've heard them a few times. So it was option number 2. Did you get it right? Well, if you didn't, don't worry, because I'm not really sure that that's the point of the plugin. On one of the first videos that I watched about this, I saw a comment that said, "This product is pointless, it just adds top end." Now, I don't know for certain, but I assume that this person had listened to a mix, a bit like I just did, but from what I remember, it was a mix that had like bass and drums in it. And they've tried to understand what the plugin is doing, but without actually listening to it in the room in real time. So they haven't actually installed the plugin on the computer and then tried it. They've just watched the video and then made a judgment based on what they heard. Now that's a little unfair because I'm not really sure that that's how it should be critiqued. Before we talk about anything else though, let's just try to define what this plugin actually does. So this is taken from the Bogren Digital website. I'll just read what it says. All IRs have significant limitation. They can only capture a static linear image of the tone curve and resonances of the cabinet, like a photograph if you will. On the other hand, real-life guitar speakers are living, moving things that respond dynamically to the input signal being fed into them. Speakers are non-linear, and it's those non-linearities that IRDX faithfully emulates and adds to your amp sim or IR loader. So in layman's terms, it processes your guitar signal to sound more like a physical amp cab setup played at high volume. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why can't I hear this when compared to a recording without the IRDX? And that's a tricky one to answer, it really is. It's a bit like trying to explain what the colour yellow is. It's impossible without using a visual example of something that's yellow. If you aren't physically using the plugin and just listening to it in a mix, you won't really hear the difference, as the difference is felt during a performance rather than heard after the fact. You've really got to use it in real time. Its effect is subtle, but I assure you that it's doing something positive to your tone. It just sounds more real. Here's the bind though. If you were born after the year 2000, you've possibly never used a real amp and cab setup. Because as you know, over the past 20 years, there's been a significant shift from real amps and cabs to digital plugins. Not necessarily plugins, mind you. Obviously, you've got the Kempers, the Line 6 Helixes, the Fractal Audio stuff, anything like that. If you were born after the year 2000 and you have used a real amp, there's a good chance that it was in the first few years of you playing, and therefore it was some sort of practice amp or slightly bigger than a practice amp before you progressed on to using plugins and modelers. Really though, when I say real amp, what I'm talking about is using a full valve amp and cab setup, a 4x12 or something like that, not a 5-watt amp with the tone quality of a potato. If you've only used plugins or modelers, then you've used cab IRs that only simulate linear speaker movements. They're like a photograph or a snapshot of a cab in that particular moment when it was captured, and they don't have any of the dynamic variation that a guitar cab would normally have under use. So in a way, this product could be pointless for those without prior real amp experience, as it simulates something that you've never actually experienced. Of all the plugins that I've used over the years since I went digital, this has to be the one with the biggest potential to polarise its users. There'll be those that swear by it, and I bet those people will be slightly older like me, and there'll be those who think it's pointless, and I think they're more likely to be younger. And this highlights a potential problem for Bogren, and they might find it difficult to sell this product en masse to those that are most likely to buy it, as the people who are most likely to buy it are the people who are most likely to not see the point of it. Personally, because I'm ancient, I've used many physical amplification setups in the past, and I can definitely see the point in this plugin. It's like a secret potion for guitar tone realism. Does it really enhance the performance or the sound of a guitar tone in the mix? Well, I'm no expert, but I'm on the fence about this. If I'm honest, I can't really tell if it improves anything when you've got like bass and drums and vocals and stuff being played at the same time. So the way I like to think about using this plugin is it's the audio equivalent of the difference between walking down a flight of stairs and walking down a slope. With the stairs, you can feel each step and you noticeably get lower the further you go. Whereas the slope is far more gradual and incline, and you don't notice the change in altitude as much as a result. For me, the stairs are like using IRDX. You experience each note in a way that you can't without it. Whereas using a plugin with existing IR technology feels like the slope, and it's much flatter in terms of response. When I turn IRDX off, my plugin, whatever plugin it is that I'm using, just feels a little limp, just a little lifeless. Overall, I think this plugin is a no-brainer for those looking to reclaim the glory days of turning on a 100-watt all-valve head up to 5 and then immediately regretting that decision and turning it back down to 2. Does it enhance your tone? Well, in my opinion, sort of. Am I going to continue using it? Definitely. I think the next generation of modelers are going to latch on to this idea because they can't not, because it does make your guitar signal feel a little more real. And if the reason that you exist as a company is to try to make a digital version of a physical product, then you can't really not include this kind of thing moving forwards. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.